On the Throttle is brought to you by SportsBikeWrench.com. Performance parts.
This house is cold and empty, just a ghost of who I used to be.
All right, so here we are at my secret location here in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's an abandoned warehouse, which most common stunt spots are. What we always try and find is basically any area that's either an industrial or set back from the public where you're not going to find a lot of spectators, and something that's safe. In other words, you're not wanting a whole bunch of poles in the way. As you see here, I got a huge wide open area where if everything goes wrong, my bike's not going to hit anything, I'm not going to hit anything. And overall, basically, we're just going to hit some principles today that are going to teach you how to do a safe wheelie. You're going to see that Ernie and I are always going to be wearing, of course, what you should be wearing. Motorcycling is not a safe sport, so always have your helmet and the appropriate gear. We chose these rust steel jackets because they're super lightweight, even though they add a lot of protection. And even in the heat, like we find here in Las Vegas, we can wear our gear all day long. I know that a lot of people that start out, they wear t-shirts and they end up with a heck of a lot of rash. I know I did, and you don't have to live through my pain, so just learn from my mistakes. And I'll let Ernie go over the principles here of a wheelie.
Today we're going to kind of go over the basics of learning, starting to learn how to do your first wheelie. There's a couple of different things you need to know, I guess, when you're first starting to do wheelies. One is how you pick the wheelie up. There's two different methods. You can either use the clutch or you can do it all throttle. I know people at first, when they're first starting, they get kind of confused because they hear a lot of different things when it comes to doing a wheelie. But believe it or not, the safest and easiest way to do it is using the clutch. We're going to go over some of the basics of that, of learning how to pop it up and whatnot. The second thing we're going to show you today is the coverage of the back brake. We have hand brakes and we have foot brakes. And today we're probably going to go over just the foot brake, which is, when you're starting off to do wheelies, it's the most basic way and it's the best way to learn control. So we'll be going over how to use the foot brake in a wheelie and when to use it. Another thing we're going to be going over is all the different positions in a wheelie. There's so many different positions to start off with. The most basic though, when starting a wheelie, the one that most people are the most comfortable with, is the stagger stance wheelie, which is 1 foot over the foot brake and your left foot over the rear passenger peg, which gives you a little stability when it comes to standing up. It takes a little bit of the pressure off your arms and keeps you from wanting to gas it and loop out. Of course, the bikes, they're all completely set up. We don't come out here in the middle of nowhere with a bike that's not set up. I mean, it definitely helps to have the crash cages on and everything on the bike, because when you're learning, of course, you are going to wreck. I mean, there's the riders who have gone down, there's the riders who are going down. So it can go either way. It's better to be prepared, and we'll go over some of the basics today in a wheelie, and hopefully we can get you guys wheeling soon.
Yep. So I'm Nick Apex, and this is my partner, Ernie Villahil. We're Team Rush Steel North America, and today we're going to go over the basics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to the idea of how exactly to work the clutch. Now, obviously this clutch is a little bit shorter, but your stock clutch should still disengage with one finger. It's safest to pop the clutch with one finger, simply because you're going to have the rest of your hand gripping the bar, and you're not compromising anything. So what Ernie's going to do is going to pull the clutch in with one finger, and he's going to have the RPMs pretty much set at dead. And all he's going to do essentially is probably give it about a quarter turn of gas as he pops the clutch, and just one movement. It's all one and the same. As you flip the gas, you're popping the clutch. It is fairly violent. You're not slipping the clutch, you are popping it. A nice thing to do, you're going to be able to see exactly how he initiated the clutch, and you're going to be able to hear the RPMs race up as he does. And that's your standard clutch wheelie. You hear the RPMs jump up. He's literally giving it gas and popping the clutch out all in one. You don't bring the revs up. You're not going to sit there and put the revs at 4,000 RPMs and then drop the clutch out and expect it to happen. Because what happens is, without a lot of throttle movement, you could get the thing to damn near bounce off redline. We all know that you can just give it a little bit of gas without any load on it, and the RPMs are going to race. And that's the reason why you're popping it and giving it gas at the same time. Now, realistically on a stock bike, with stock gearing, I'm assuming it's going to be right around 8,000 to 9,000 RPMs at your bike. And that is almost every modern 600 or 1,000 cc class bike is going to be able to pop up. Now again, like I said, it's not 8,000 RPMs and dropping the clutch. That's blipping the gas up to about 8,000 RPMs. So you're probably going to want to blip it up to 4 and then yeah, as it goes. It's kind of hard to explain. This is something that you need to feel out. Every bike's different. Every rider's weight's different. What Ernie's going to do, he's going to pull the clutch in. And he's going to be rolling about 2 or 3 miles an hour. And he's going to pop the clutch with a squirt of gas, which is going to pop the front wheel up about a foot. And what he's going to do from there is chase that balance. About only a foot off the ground. He's not going to shoot for balance point. He's just going to power wheelie. As the clutch got him up to a specific height, he's going to try and catch that height and run with it. So go ahead, Ernie. Clutch up a power wheelie. So, as you can see, he just basically popped it up and chased it out. And what that gives you is that's going to give you the principle of how to get the front tire off the ground safely, because you don't want to try and clutch it up really high at first. Here he comes again. He's going to go ahead and do another one. He's going to pop the clutch up, which is just going to jump the front tire off the ground, and then he's going to chase it with the gas. And a wheelie like that is perfectly safe. That's one of the ones where if you pop that up and you shut off the gas, at no point would that wheelie ever consider flipping over. But you want to be in, like again, in a safe environment, of course, when you're learning this. A long, wide open area just like this. So go ahead, Ernie, this time pop it up and bring it a little bit higher, but not balanced, just under it. As you can see there, he's carrying the wheelie longer, but the RPMs are still growing. The reason why the RPMs kept racing upwards, of course, is because he's still under the balance point. As you saw, he just clutched it up, so he brought it up at the first 2 or 3 feet. And the reason why he did that is because if you try and power a wheelie up, to get to that safe first 2 or 3 feet, you're in the gas and you're getting massive RPMs and massive speed as your bike slowly gets up to that speed. So all you're doing by clutching it is jumping the bike up to a specific height. And then from that height, you can easily manipulate the gas by simple throttle inputs. It's all throttle control, and we're talking minute, 1/16th of a turn of the throttle is what's going to bring it up to that specific height. And I'm going to have him go ahead and do it one more time. And that's just chasing it out as he goes. Now Ernie was doing all those wheelies sit down. The reason that we're going to teach you this next step, standing up off the bike gives you a lot more control of the motorcycle. It's also very easy for you to gauge how high the bike is, and if everything goes wrong, get away from the bike easier. So we're going to do now the staggered wheelie. Ernie again is going to pop the clutch and chase out a power wheelie, just as I want you to do in your first attempt, but he's going to do it staggered now with his right foot, with his left foot placed on the rear peg, on the passenger peg. Real easy setup, crouch, and chase it out. Now, as you can see, he didn't just go and pop the clutch and stand straight up. And he wasn't standing straight up first. He was crouching and leaving his body loose. He's going to do it again. Leave your body nice and loose. And his knees were slightly bent. And the reason why you want to have your knees slightly bent is it gives you that cushion of being able to come back into the bike. So as soon as you feel uncomfortable, you can always bring the bike down with your body still. So this time, clutch it up just underneath balance point, but go ahead and chase it out. Let the RPMs go. That's just underneath the balance point. Again, that's a nice, safe wheelie. Chase it out all the way to red line. He had a lot of distance with that for our small area that we have here. If that was a stock geared bike, he would have probably gone 4 times the distance. Again, we're running larger tooth bikes on our stunt bike. Later, I'll bring out the full fairing bike that we have and show you exactly the way it sounds, the way it looks on a stock full fairing bike. Go ahead, Ernie, do it one more time for us.